Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him. And I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on cam last year, we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent to combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked Comey one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special to me.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and we're talking some map scouting, a little trail cam talk, a little out of state talk. Just a lot of good whitetail knowledge for people a couple dudes that are well known for getting it done. Casey and Tyler from The Element. We reached out to these guys a couple years ago. We met them at ATA, and the guys just keep consistently killing out of state on public land. And they're doing it a lot on these maps. So we really dive in deep what they're looking at, deciding when to make a move, talking about trail cam placement a little bit, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Stand setup. We dive into a whole bunch of stuff in this episode. Let's get into the people to make this possible, and we'll get into the show. Homie, let's start us off. What you got over there, brother?
I'll start off with Exodus, trail camera tip of the week. As you guys know, the fall is coming. The temps are dropping a little bit, except these last couple of days here. But temps are starting to drop, so everything's the sun is shifting, leaves are falling a little bit, so your cameras are getting more exposed if you haven't moved them from the edge, which we still do have a couple on the edge. We're spreading ourselves a little thin here, so we're not getting around to all of our cameras to get them moved to their fall range yet. But I have noticed on a couple of these cameras that are still out on the edge, with that clearing of the tree limb above it, or just the positioning of the sun moving farther south, getting a little bit more blanks, a little bit more sun picks. So don't forget, if you got a render out there soaking, that you guys can set that camera to turn off at 10 in the morning and then resume taking pictures at 4 p.m. or whatever time you want to set it. That's going to save your memory card. It's going to save you on batteries and save you from deleting a bunch of blanks where the probability of a deer coming by is very low. So that's something that we got smoked on last year. I totally ghosted on that idea of doing that and the ability to do that with a render. But that is something you can do if you haven't got a camera off the edge from the summer hang, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great feature they have, kind of like a time where it don't take pictures or a time-lapse mode. I wish some other companies would. We talked to KC a little bit about, like, just turning them off at night, because sometimes the intel is just not good to have.
That was crazy talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
I'm going to hit you with Black Rifle. 20% code if you use Whitetail Legacy. That's good for their coffee club and good for any order that you guys got, as long as it's not something brand new. I did see that they're coming out with a logo club, like a shirt club, hat club, clothing club, I guess. That's what you want to say it. So I don't know if it's good for that or not. I'll have to call and ask, but that's supposed to be coming out here soon. But do you have Last Breath
Yeah, guys, we just got the schedule here for the upcoming videos that we're going to be releasing. The season's still going to continue to roll out, but we're also going to be including the Last Breath Lives again. A lot of people liked that last year. Just like you guys probably like to hear Cody and I go back and forth here about what we got going on for season. These are kind of like that, and they get to showcase what we're doing up to date within the last week on the Last Breath TV Live. So those are going to be coming back, and I think the first one is going to be actually Garrett's trip out west. He just came back from there. He was able to tag along with his buddy Shane from Sandy Hills Outfitters, and they went on a billy goat hunt. So they got one down, and then Garrett ended up killing a brown bear, I believe. So pretty sick Last Breath Live coming at you here.
When he was driving that day, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, headed west. I'm like, man, I didn't know anything. I don't know if it's like a spur of the moment trip or he was just like, I'm going, dude.
I know. He updated his story, and it was just mountains. And Michelle's like, where the hell's Garrett at? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
He was just driving west is all I knew.
Yeah. All right. Do you have next level?
Yeah, guys. It's very important to still continue to keep that feed out. The deer might not be hitting it as hard, but you still need to keep it out and keep it available. These bucks are really going to be starting to put on the fat here as food sources start coming out in the ag country and acorns start falling. Keeping that feed and supplement out is key through the winter, that they still know that thing is available. So if you need to get into that, you can do that at nextleveldeer.com.
All right, that's it, right?
And if you guys are interested in the Badlands code, we do have that. You can private message us, and we will give it to you. And it's a pretty sweet deal.
People messages. Yeah, we had quite a few people messages. That one guy's like, "Man, I just bought a whole new suit." I'm like, "Sweet,
right?"
Yeah, glad we could save you some jingle there. But all right, man, let's get into the show. All right, we got the Element Boys on tonight. We appreciate you guys coming on, getting together for us. We've been trying to work it out. I tried to hit you last week. I knew you just got done off a successul kill, so I wanted to get that hype train going from you guys. But I'm glad you guys
could make it. It's still there. It's still there. Don't you worry.
Right on. But yeah, we had you guys on maybe 2 years ago or so, and talked some whitetail, talked a little podcast talk. But you guys are extremely successful at picking a spot out of state and going in there and killing. So we want to pick your brain on that a little bit tonight. But first, go ahead and give the listeners a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Casey Smith, and I'm one half of the Element, or I don't know, probably 1.452868 or whatever it calls. You know, we got a couple other guys do stuff with us too. But anyways,
I forgot about those
Northeast Texas. Yeah, I forgot about those guys. From Northeast Texas, we travel around the country hunting deer and elk and other stuff from time to time, and do a podcast, do some YouTube stuff. You know, I'm a dad and a part-time youth minister here in Northeast Texas, and do a little construction stuff on the side. And I tell people that you know how it takes 10 dimes to make a dollar. That's kind of how I do life. You know, he's grab a little bit here, there, and everywhere, and that's how you end up making a living and getting to be a whitetail bum. We've been talking about whitetail bumming quite a bit lately.
Yeah, we have. I'm Tyler Jones, and so I'm the other part of the Element, or one of the other parts. I am also a dad, a husband.
Oh, I'm a husband too, sorry.
Yeah, he is a husband. That's why I said also.
Yeah,
trying to help you out.
Thanks, man.
So anyway, that's, probably enough about me for sure.
Come on.
I think
rock star.
I think Casey's doing it right, because he's the only one that said construction on the side. For me and Cody, it's like construction first and then everything else. But Casey's doing it right, man. Doing all the fun stuff first.
Priorities.
I have been that. I have been construction as a primary for a long time, and then pretty much in the past year, Tyler and I decided that we were going to make a big push to try to do this as full time as we possibly can. Which you can never. Full time is a funny thing to talk about because you can never really do anything full time because you also have a lot of other stuff, you know. But at least right now, I guess trying to pursue our dreams is kind of the priority right now of not trying to be internet stars or millionaires, but finding a way to make a meager living and get to hunt as much as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyler does a lot of wedding videography and is trying to get away from it as fast as possible, but he won't tell you, but he is a rock star.
Nah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
He loves to rock and roll, wear skinny jeans, and just go crazy, right? So
You know what they call guys that come back from foreign places in the world and they're in the army? They call them veterans.
you're a veteran
That's
rock
what I
star.
am. I'm a veteran.
Uh,
Yeah.
Better rock star.
By the way, I'm gonna try to line these horns up in my head the whole time during this game.
It looks great.
I've been working on it.
I'm not sure Casey's a shooter or not, but I'd shoot Tyler.
You need to work
I
on
don't know
your
if it's good or
brows,
bad.
man.
Yeah.
You need to work on your brows. Get your brow game up.
One of them scrub 3-year-olds out there that needs taken out.
Well,
It's
from
got
time,
good G2s though.
I'll just do I'll do this from time
There
to
you
time.
go.
There you go. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
Oh, now I missed I got my
Uh-oh,
messed up
sorry.
with the horn.
There you go.
Well, like I said, we wanted to have you guys on just because you've been incredibly successful the last few years. We've been following you. I listen to your guys' podcast. Love the YouTube. Props to you guys for kind of being semi-live during season. That has to be hella hard hunting and putting stuff out at the same time. That shit's tough. We know how that is. Even trying to podcast and hunt, it's just, there's only so much time and so many days to get stuff going. So I know there's probably a lot of late nights editing and trying to get shit up when you're back at the truck or whatever. So props to you, man, for doing that.
Well, we have kind of a little system. Tyler is really the master editor when it comes to videos. He does most of our video editing. And I do quite a bit of the podcast editing, which is quite a bit easier, really. But most of the time, I'm on dinner duty, and Tyler is dropping footage and doing all that stuff. So we kind of have a system worked out there. And, like, I think, and y'all, I'm sure, could talk about this a lot, but to have a good hunting partner, not just a buddy, but a hunting partner, you got to get that kind of stuff worked out and understand, and I know not everybody's going to do footage and stuff, but you have to be able to work together. And, we do that pretty good. Not that there's not, times that we have to talk things out from time to time, but, we do a pretty good job of not trying to say we do a good job, but you get what I'm saying. We found something that works for us. Yeah.
We kind of started this not really knowing, and then we kind of both took on our own roles without even each other asking. I do most of the scheduling and like the talking to people, and homie does all the editing and the computer work. And he's way more organized than me and way better at like keeping dates and knowing when shit happened. I'm terrible at that, but I'm a little bit better at like talking, wheeling and dealing, and moving the sticks. You know what I mean?
There you
Like,
go.
I'm a stick mover. You need a guy to throw a perfect bomb pass. Homie's your guy. You need a guy to get 3 yards, move the sticks. That's what I'm talking about. I'll get in there and make it happen. But if you want a guy that's, precision, he's your dude. I'm in there with. Remember that I said most people go in there to surgically remove them.
Yeah.
I'm at the machete stage.
Right.
That's all I
Right.
do.
Just whack it.
Take a path.
That's it, dude.
That's awesome.
Last year you guys came and you smashed one, but it was so crazy. I was like, oh, they're coming up to Illinois, and then boom, you had a dead buck. I was like, wow, that was quick.
I was like, is that a kill from like, a couple weeks ago or something? And then Illinois stud. I was like, damn.
Yeah. We had fallen along with Jake, and you guys had come up and kind of hung some cams and then went in there and killed. But I want to talk about this, whether guys traveling out of state and guys looking at a new piece of public. What are you guys looking at, those key features, coming in here in October, where if you're going to make a move on a property, what are some key features that you guys are looking for on those maps?
Man, there's a lot of things. So I guess starting out, I was going to talk about how I do it. And KC did a lot of scouting this summer, and I did a lot of editing. And so I like set myself up to where like a lot of movie or videos are releasing right now. And so I have time to scout now for some of the tags that I've drawn and some of the different things that I'm going to be doing this year that like we don't both have tags for or whatever. So I've been doing that the last couple of nights, like real intensively. And I kind of like, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing sometimes if I want to talk about this stuff, because if not, like I'll get into a spot where KC has to remind me how I actually do this, because I just like, I'm just in the zone scouting. I'm not thinking about the process and how I'm doing it at this point, you know. But like, I guess a long way to say, when I start out, like the first thing I've been doing lately is I get pretty far out and I look for irregularities. A lot of times, like out west, especially, you'll have like it could be plains type stuff, and you'll have just a lot of short grass prairie or whatever. And so like you've got to be able to like find something that would draw deer, and that could be like a landmark tree or a water tank or something like that. But like zooming out helps you see these irregularities in these big swaths like that, or in like, you know, if you're in like big river bottom country or something like that and it's just flat. We got a lot of that even here where it's just fairly flat, lots of the same type of trees, small cedar elms or willows or whatever it may be. And you know, you really are going to have a hard time finding the trail as a bow hunter that you need to be on. A rifle hunter is a little bit different, you know, but as a bow hunter, you got to be 30 yards, right? You guys were talking about it maybe off air earlier, where you're just like, you feel like you're always 20 yards off, you know. It's like with a gun, that's no big deal, right? But with a bow, it's different. So you really got to focus down and find like why, like, okay, I'm seeing trails throughout this stuff in this river bottom or whatever. Why are they going to be on this trail and not that trail? And the way to do that a lot of times is zoom out. It's not to see which trail is necessarily heavier or whatever, but it's to zoom out and see how does the lay of the land, like topo lines or the river system or whatever it is, make deer go this way. Why would they want to do that? Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm all about exactly what you're saying. You know, you find that anomaly that is going to attract deer. And another thing I like to think about is what is the most limited resource. So, for instance, a lot of that country, especially in eastern Illinois that we've been up in, I mean, dude, cover is pretty limited, you know, especially during deer season. I mean, when the corn's in, there's a bunch of cover, but whenever they take the corn out and it's fall, you know, that's just literally, can you find a spot where there are some trees, you know, or, you know, we've been in some other states like a OTC state that's fairly inexpensive, and, you know, pressure seclusion is the limited resource. You go out west, limited resource might be something to eat. You know, you're trying to find something green in December. So that's one of the things I'm looking for when I'm looking at a map. You know, it's just like judge the area, judge the hunting culture of that area, and then, you know, kind of make some deductions from there as to like where can you find the highest concentration of deer. Because when you're going out of state, a lot of times you got to drop your standards from not something you don't want to shoot, but be realistic about things, right? So you need to understand what you're going out there to shoot. And then you need to also understand you only have 5-6 days, you know, on a good trip to make this happen. So you can't just man, I can't do it. Some people can, but the whole idea of like doing an observation sit where you know you're not going to kill anything during a hunting day just drives me crazy. You know, there's probably guys that are just yelling at the speakers right now because they do good with it. But man, I just the other day in Nebraska, we did an observation sit opening morning because we didn't really know. We just hadn't gathered enough info to actually feel like we were going in to make a move. And what happened? We sat on a hill and then saw 2-shooter bucks at like 200 yards away. And it's like, man, if I was just sitting in that tree right there, I could shoot one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, and to kind of add on to what you were saying about, you know, your standards being realistic, you know, like some hunts that you could go on, this is something to research ahead of time, but some hunts that you can go on, like it's an experience hunt more than it is a trophy buck hunt or whatever, you know? So like for a lot of guys, if they were going to go out of state and go to Illinois, they would be expecting that they would probably see some big deer, right? But if you go out of state to, you know, Nebraska or South Dakota, you might go, okay, well, you know, a 3-year-old's pretty good deer out there. There's not just a ton of trophies running around, whether that's the long rifle season or cold winters or whatever, you know, harsh conditions. But like, just kind of got to do some research ahead of time. And if you only really want to go out of state because you want to kill a big old monster buck, there's only a few states that you probably need to travel to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel. Like just being able to hunt somewhere new, like Nebraska, is completely different than anything we could get our hands on around here. We have we kind of gravitate to those more open prairie grass kind of properties anyways, it seems like. So I think we might do decent out there. We're kind of used to that kind of scenario, but it seems like, you know, every year you guys are, you know, finding deer and on deer. with doing, if that's what you're doing, picking kind of a key feature, that's something that I don't think we've ever done. We look at maps really kind of detailed. I think we maybe need to scope out a little bit and try to pick up something that's different. We're going to have opportunities to hunt stuff a little different than we ever have this year. So a property that we've been on for 6 or 7 years is going to be brand new because we've never had the opportunity to hunt it at, a certain time. So definitely something that we need to be thinking about. When you're going and doing these travel hunts, I know in Illinois you came and hung cameras before. Did you do that in Nebraska, or were you just going in there raw dog, no info, like you said?
Yeah, it was much more of a map scouting type hunt. Tyler had been in Nebraska the past 2 years. This is my first time going there, but we went to a different spot just because of some map scouting and trying to find a spot where maybe the pressure would be lower. And I don't know. We didn't get a great sample size, but we thought maybe the trophy quality could be a little lower. But you don't ever really know about that stuff unless you do a ton of homework and stuff. But I think that we approach those two hunts a lot different. Like the Nebraska hunt is really it's an adventure hunt. It's an opportunity to get out and hunt deer.
You have the whole state.
Yeah, you have the whole state.
The tag is for the whole state, so that's why
Yeah, that's cool.
That's one thing about when you're map scouting, you've got everything you could possibly want to look at there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the state is pretty vast as far as like the ecology goes, and so one thing I had hunted the 2 years prior and hunted like a pretty good swath of the state throughout that and very different types of habitat. So we definitely focused on something that was quite a bit different.
And it was just one of those situations where it's pretty far from home, and we weren't gonna. I hate to say this, we were talking about this earlier, but we weren't producing content pre-season about Nebraska stuff.
Yeah.
We weren't doing map scout stuff on that like we were in other states. So there wasn't really a reason for us to be in the state, and quite honestly, gas in 2021 is a lot different than it was in 2020 or 2019. So it's hard to drop a trail camera whenever you got to also drop $500 in gas just to make a round trip. So I think that Tyler talks about this a lot, actually, like going and doing this Map Scout Challenge stuff like we do on this YouTube series. It makes us good at this. I'm not saying that we are good at it, but it's almost like we have to be because we just immerse ourselves in that so much, right? And truth be told, we went to Nebraska and pretty much struggled for 5 days until Tyler shot a deer, but at the same time, if you get out and you see enough country and you put your boots on enough dirt, you finally you just get a grasp of just what deer do, right? And y'all know this because y'all are hunters too, and everybody knows that. And it's kind of common sense to know, like, the more time you spend in the woods, the more you're going to figure out about deer, right? And you can really be specific about that when it comes to map scouting, and that's kind of how we approach the Nebraska stuff. If we didn't do the trail cam thing, we just kind of we have kind of a tedious system of how we label things on OnX whenever we're going through and dropping pins and doing things. And Tyler and I kind of are on the same plan on that, and we go up there and we have like spot A through Z really to go check out and know what winds it's going to hunt good on and this and that. Well, we assume at least.
KC's dropped like 2,500 pins on.
Oh
OnX,
man,
so.
Dude, I love showing people like. My joke is like, hey, you want to see all my pins on X? Well, sure. And I pull it up, and the whole country's red, either white or whatever.
This part looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's how he, he's a little more, just like spray pretty much all over the map and just put dots all over it and then come back and start fine tuning it. And it's good because like when we go somewhere and we struggle, which happens a lot, we have like several spots that are already pinned as being good spots. And we've even kind of run into this deal where we're trying to figure out, like, in places that we hunt year to year, how can we mark certain parcels off as being not good? Because we saw it in person and we went, ooh, I mean, you can see the whole property from the road. Like, there's no reason to be there or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but like that's where like something like Nebraska would be different than what you guys do, and why maybe you guys look at things so much more detailed, because you've got these small properties or whatever that you're hunting up there. You're hunting like a specific 190 or whatever y'all typically hunt up there.
We're hunting general 190s, not specific.
Yeah, we're hunting generally hunting 190s. And you're basically looking at, man, like what tree is this dude going to come by on this property, and what is he using off the property, and this and that. And we're a little more looking at like, how can we kill a 3-year-old on a property in this entire state? You know what I mean? So it's a little different for sure.
So with you guys out in Nebraska, I was just going to say this earlier, but like Cody and I are more looking for land features when we're looking at a property, usually a property that we can hunt, and not just a general wide state like you guys were at the at day one of going on Nebraska trip. What made you pick the general area to start with for your guys' trip out to Nebraska?
Just
a lot different area for one.
Yeah, different area than what you hunted in the past. And whenever you look at the map in a bigger, higher field of view still, there's a lot of available opportunity. So you can actually be like, I have 80 spots, within an hour's drive of this place that I can go, and I think that's one of the things I think about a lot when we go out of state hunting. Like, you don't want to end up, well, I shouldn't say you don't want to. I don't want to end up going to a state and hanging my hat. We did this on the way home, actually. Hang your hat on a particular property that looks so good on the map, and then you show up and there's a dude parked on the upwind side of it, You're a cat guy? Oh, my goodness.
Long story, bro. Long story.
All right. But,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to end up just hanging your hat on one property and then being like, oh, gosh, okay, so we've already got a hotel here, or we already set up camp, and there's nothing within a 2-hour area, like radius, that I want to hunt besides this one place, and that place might have a booner on it, and it has the habitat to hold it. But if there's a dude in there, or the wind's not right, or who knows, maybe it's supposed to be beans and it's, sorghum this year or something like that, and then you're just out of luck chuck. So that's pretty much how we picked that area, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. You're not tied to one property. You can go drive a half hour to another one. And, that's kind of, Cody and I like to hopefully have, 2 to 4 properties that we can bounce around on, because lo and behold, one's always on fire and the other one's kind of, not on fire. And then eventually the other one picks up and hopefully we can catch it. And this year we're finally on the same page of what we're going to do and of what it's been the last 2-3 years. And hopefully we're going to strike early.
All right, dude. I like it. I like confidence kills.
Yes.
It's looking good right now. If we could hunt right now, there'd be some dead ass bucks. But
right,
we got a few more days. So
yeah.
They got to hold true. When you did come up to Illinois, I know a lot of people are talking about thinking about trail cams right now, and you did end up getting pictures of the buck that you killed during the summer, didn't you? Up there, kind of in the same area that you killed him.
Well, so actually not really during the summer. We had the deer that I shot actually didn't show up till probably a week before, I think. No, maybe like 2 weeks before.
I thought it was the 15th.
Yeah, maybe it was a week before then. Yeah. He showed up on a cold front in mid-October. And it was not stuff at first. But we had other shooters in there during the summer, including one that came in on me that was bigger than the one I shot, that got spooked.
And not on camera. So
not on camera.
The duo right there.
Good deal. Nobody believes me. But anyway, he was really big. He had kind of a weak side, but his good side was real, real big. So I had most of the deer on camera in the summer, and then I guess somewhere during the cold fronts of October, some of the ranges started changing a little bit. So but I didn't even know, like I pulled that card when I got in there, and I had looked at a couple that I had a screen on the camera, and I looked at a couple of the pictures, and I saw that big deer, and that was it. And I was like, all right, I'm out, I'm going to get in a tree, so grabbed the car, got in a tree, didn't know that big 8 was in there that I shot. And but when he came in, it was like, no doubt if this dude gives me a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but if there's just a few things you could say about maybe someone that's hanging the trail cam on a new piece or hanging it out of state. That's something we've never done. We've never put a trail cam somewhere and be like, all right, I'll be back in 6 months. Like, is there anything that you guys are doing like that is different than anybody else when you're leaving it out of state for that long time?
Well, definitely there are some things we're doing, but they're probably a little bit out of the box as far as like hunting tactic. I think one of the main things is if you can find somebody local to pick that thing up for you and send it back to you, that's huge.
Yeah.
We do that a lot, and that's not really like, talking about deer as much, but man, you talk about a big help, like we even now, you do something, send them a gift card or whatever, to kind of make it worth their while or share information with them or whatever. But, having somebody local that can just help you out with stuff like that is a big deal. As far as the, actual hanging of the camera goes, man, it's pretty tough because I think everybody knows hang them high and, point them north and this and that, I mean, one of the things that we run into sometimes is that you'll hang a camera, especially the further northern latitudes. You go up there, hang a camera in June. Well, it's down here, everything's done growing by July and turning brown. But up there where y'all are at, grasses or weeds are still growing tall. So you end up having weeds and stuff grow up into the camera that you maybe didn't have to consider before. So stuff like that, just making sure you're hanging your camera in a spot that's going to be, not going to hang cats. That's going to be, a spot where you don't have the interference or whatever. And then
we did get that camera stolen, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So I think what you run into is about mid-October, dudes start getting interested in hunting again. And, if you don't have your cameras pulled by then, there's a chance it's going to get stolen. But before that, man, the summertime stuff, like people are just not in there hardly, it's just,
we've noticed that too. Late season, it seems like late season people get in there. I don't know if they're shed hunting or what. We lose most of ours that late, like, okay, we're going to let this thing soak. We're going to pick it up in March, like just to see what deer made it. Thing's gone. All of them are gone.
Yeah.
Some of them are like so far away and just a place that there's no tree you could even hunt there. We're just setting up, just to catch like a weird pinch point or something. Gone. You're like, why is anybody even back here? This is so far away.
I was just
half a day to get here.
I know. I was just thinking if KC sent me a gift card to go get that camera for him that we left out there, like, man, it would have to be a hell of a gift card.
It has to be $100 Texas Roadhouse gift card.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, they give those out for free here, because it's Texas, so we can send y'all.
Yeah. That's the only thing we got up here,
right?
That's worth it. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I'm about to waste half a day to go get this one camera. And homie went back there. He's like, it's gone. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Terrible.
One of the things I would say that you consider whenever you're hanging an out-of-state camera is what data are you trying to get together? A lot of times we're hanging cameras in the summer, like when we do the Map Scout Challenge stuff. We're not really hanging them in a spot we're actually going to hunt. Sometimes we're hanging in a spot where we are in an area we plan to possibly go back and hunt. But just in general, like if you hang a camera on the edge of a bean field, but there's no early season, you're not actually going to hunt there. You're just trying to get big bucks on camera, which is cool, and if you do a little map scouting or you do some stomping around, you can figure out where to head back and find them. But I'll think about, like, for instance, there's some states that we're really going to target like that late October stuff where deer are starting to scrape and you're hunting cold fronts and that. So we're going to really do our best to find the biggest, baddest scrape in the area, hang a camera there in late summer and hope that the battery runs for quite a while and we have some really good information so we can go in there and target a deer. Then there's other states where we're going to go and hang a camera in a rut funnel because we just want to know what's going on. And that might be a sucker camera or that might be a place, we show up on November 10th after we've hopefully tagged out in a different state and just see how hot it has been, and go from there. And then again, you can go hang stuff to try. I mean, you could hang cameras for Nebraska, and we actually hung a Moultrie cell camera while we were up there this year. And didn't get much of anything because the deer don't really move very far this time of year, you know? So it's, unless you have just the perfect place to hang a camera, it's kind of tough. And that might be another reason why I'd say we didn't really use much trail cameras, you know, and for this past Nebraska hunt, because, you know, the deer just don't move around a whole bunch like they do, you know, of course, November 7th, you know, it's a good time to get some trail camera pictures.
I really like finding someone that you could send some trail cams to and have them collect that for you. That's something that I haven't thought about doing. That, I mean, you make enough friends if you're on a Facebook group or something, be like, hey man, I'm thinking about coming here next year. I'm going to send you 3 cams. If you trust the guy good enough, you know, if he could collect that SD card, and even if you said, hey, I'm going to send you 3 $60 cameras, you can keep the cameras. Just send me the data on the SD card. I mean, that would be huge if you plan on going there the next year, you know.
Totally worth it. You know, if you're going somewhere.
We've done that. We did that this year up in Pennsylvania. You know, we had a guy went and pulled it for us, kind of out of his way a little bit. It was like, and keep the camera, you know, and you can look at all the pictures and whatever else, just send us the SD card. So
yeah, that's huge.
Way to go. Yeah, that saves you gas money, time, and everything else, you know.
Yeah, and I think it would be so cool just to be able to pull all that data from different states. And like you said, once you hunt stuff enough, you're going to be like, well, this deer did the same thing in this scenario 2 years ago and this same kind of setup. Let's try that. But being able to see the deer in Nebraska working while the deer in Illinois are working and the deer in Texas are working, you know, all on a card together and try to, you know, well, this day was really good in 3 different states. What was going on? You know, I think that would be really cool to piece all together.
We've seen some stuff like that where you see a cold front, like a slow moving front move through, you know, and you can see like the 6th was really hot and then the 7th was really hot down here or whatever, you know. Or for instance, last year, whenever you killed your deer, the cold front hit in Texas before it hit in Illinois. So I'm all down here like hype, you know, because I actually wasn't there when Tyler killed that deer. I had to stay here. I was on babysitter duty still. And so like I'm calling him at noon, like, dude, it's about to go down. It's about to happen. You know, the wind's out of the north. He's trying to take a nap. It's still like 68 or something like that, you know, where you're at. And it's already, you know, blowing 20 out of the north where I'm at, you know. And then 2 hours later it hits and then magic happens, right? So it's cool.
Another thing I want to talk about, this is something that we have kind of a struggle with. You know, when you're out there on these different properties, you guys are jumping property to property. When are you guys deciding like, hey, it's time to make a move on this? You know, I just feel like we get into a spot and we're like, man, this looks too good. We're going to waste another 2 days in here and see what happens. And I feel like we miss out on a lot of like, man, we did that last year. We hunted the South Public, I don't know how many times, because it was looking good. We were seeing a few more deer, but we knew the North Public was where we needed to be. Mm-hmm. So how do you guys, you know, decide, all right, it's time to make a move. This is what we're going to do.
Out of desperation. No.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I think, you know, that is something that I don't know if any of us will ever figure out, and every hunting season is going to be balancing that. Right. Yeah. But
there's a lot of gut that plays into it.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's also the concept of like, you go to out of state to a state that you're probably not going to return to, you know, and you have 6 days, or you have a state that you travel to that, you know, you might make it back 3 different times because it's worth it. Or you have a state like your home state where, you know, you have to probably, kind of be a little cautious because you got the whole season there, you know? So what's the thing that we've been taught? I always forget it, but I said it here a while back, like,
knowledgeably aggressive.
Yeah, knowledgeably aggressive. That's kind of my take on when we go out of state is I want to make moves that are knowledgeably aggressive. So I don't ever want to go in and do something stupid and like hunt a spot, blow it out, and never have had a chance to shoot any of the deer that were in there. But at the same time, like I don't want to, you know, like just patty whack outside of a spot for 3 days knowing I need to be in there so I can kill one. You know, that's kind of so even on these hunts that Tyler and I aren't together on, we are always talking on the phone and scheming, you know, and I'm sure y'all do the same thing. And I think about the hunt I did last year where I killed my buck on public. That was way back. Tyler and I were talking all day long about what to do out there on that deal, and ended up never, sight unseen pretty much. I'd never been to this public property, but we had map scouted it quite a bit, and decided to push pretty far back, like about a mile, on my tracker to get back into this spot and killed, right? And I passed up a bunch of good sign on the way. But it was later in the month, and there's a couple other factors that kind of made me think that I needed to be back there where I was headed. And I could have just kind of like, hopscotched my way back in there over a couple of days, but who knows what would have happened with scent and all that. You're going to these places where deer get hunted. It's not a controlled environment where you're the only guy getting out there. If they smell you, from 400 yards away, they might say, you know what, tonight I'm going to range to this other side of my home range.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at shooting holes in the boat. And so like I tend to, I think like if I was to look at most of my days when I'm scheming, trying to figure out where I'm going to hunt that evening or whatever, like most of the time I'm like, oh man, I just can't hunt the spot I want to because of the wind, or I just don't feel good about it. I've got 4 options here and I've hunted 3 of them. This other one's the worst of them all. I don't feel good about any of this, but like there are times when I feel really good. And I don't know what it is, but I tend to have good hunts when I do feel really good because I can shoot holes in the boat and say like, man, this all looks good, but there's this one thing that is just not going to make this a good spot. And so, but what my point is, I'm not able to make a spot that I feel very good about every day. But when I do, it tends to be pretty good because I've tried to eliminate any chance that, a deer smells me or that they're going to go behind me on the trail or, wrong trail 60 yards away or whatever. So like, I guess for me, like in Nebraska, even just recently, like I was ready to go and probably just tired, had a bad attitude too, but like ready to go pretty quick from where we started out. And we ended up staying there, a little bit more than I wanted to, but, KC got fed up with it. We moved, we killed, and so you just got to kind of, get fed up with it. Really is what it is. It depends on your personality. Like he's more optimistic than me, so it took him longer.
To a fault, man.
I mean, but it's still, like it could have been optimistic to where he goes in a mile and kills a buck like he did last year. So like there is times that pays off too. So I just think like as far as knowing when to move, you just got to get fed up with it. And a lot of guys will go in and they'll set up a huge camp and make it real difficult on themselves and pull everything out of the truck and everything. And then, nothing happens where they're at and they end up, they're just like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to move all this camp, Now I think that's one thing we do well is like, you should see the back seat of our truck when we travel. It is a rage fest, dude, of just gear, just mounds of it, dude, just everywhere. Just like throw everything in there and then, get in and out with a bow somehow in the back seat, and like that's what it is. And so like we are always able to go an hour to the east or whatever, when we need to.
And we're, willing to do it. When we were in Nebraska, we had some bad weather and different things that kind of, we ended up having a lot of days where we had wasted hunt or, wasted time where we didn't get to go in and do what we wanted to just because it was storming. I'll go hunt in the rain a little bit. It's hard to film that way, but you find a way to make it happen. But whenever it's like lightning and blowing 40, it's pretty tough to go make something happen. So that was kind of my like hesitation to wanting to leave. But, thinking back that, packing up camp's a good point. Like how many times did we pack up camp, go and try to make a move and go to somewhere else and then end up coming back and setting up camp again in the same spot? I think it was twice.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I think so.
I think 2 different times we pulled camp.
But I mean, the last time we did it, it was literally like throw the tent out on a concrete slab in the campground, put air mattresses down, sleeping bags, and get in it. Everything else stayed in the truck, So it is like, it's not the most fun thing to do at 11 p.m. at night, when it gets dark at, 9 in the early season.
You still are hungry.
And you're starving, But like it's better than having to pull your whole camp cooking down and your water hanging up in the tree over there and your clothes drying on the other bush, and all this other stuff. So something that we try to do so that we are able to move a lot. And I think just To me, like if you have a lot of public around, if you end up going to somewhere where you got a lot of public or whatever, you got several private options in the area. Like, I mean, there's no reason not to be willing to move if deer are not, like if you're not seeing deer, like just don't stay there very long. I mean, maybe give it another shot, but there's deer moving other places. And frankly, like it may not be that property's bad. It may be that you just don't hunt it the right way. And that's just your personality. So go somewhere else and give it a try. Maybe that property sets up well to hunt with your personality,
I think that's a smart move. When you get tired of something, we were talking to Heath Cisco and he was like, man, after 3 or 4 days, I just got to take a break. He's a little older and I feel like that's the way I would be. Once you're in a place for 2, 3, 4 days, shit ain't going right. It's time to make a move, whether the deer are there or not, just because you need that boost of, all right, we're doing something different. We're trying something new here to flip the switch. And we did that last year. We were the wind was bad. And we were kind of like, okay, we're going to do an observation set. And then walking in, I was like, you know what? Let's just go all in. Let's just screw it. And then that's when we ended up encountering, just flipping it up, doing something that we weren't really planning on doing, but we're just like, all right, let's just go do this instead of playing it safe. I hunted on good private for so long. My mentality of playing it safe is hurting me the last 3 years on public land. It's just killing me, but it's getting better every year. But I like that, being knowledgeably aggressive. I feel like that's what we do most of the time.
Yeah.
Like we got to have some intel before we're like, we're going,
Yeah.
There's a few days where we're like, okay, we're going to try it. But most of the time we're like, all right, we need some solid details about going in there and doing something radical. But
I'm not the sit all day type. Like, so that kind of like my personality, if you know that about me, kind of plays into like, I also like, I don't want to go hunt pronghorn antelope and try to figure them out the whole time. I want to be stalking them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like super high energy and I'm not like super like low attention span or anything, but like if I don't, that just kind of shows you, like if I don't see deer on a property, if I can't see them or see them doing things or have them coming by me or see like really fresh sign and I sit there a couple of times, or if I don't have a trail camera in there showing me something, then I'm probably not spending much more time there.
Mm-hmm. I know watching your guys' series, you move a lot, do a lot of hanging, hunt, moving around. I think I was watching the West Texas one last year, and you were all over the place on that. Or wherever were you in West Texas, or where were you at in Texas?
Good question. It really is.
We had it all over Texas last year, actually.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No,
it's all one state to me. I know the East and the West is a lot different, but it's all one state for a guy in Illinois. I'm like, all right, they're in Texas.
Well, really, the way we do stuff now is just like, if you just submit to the idea that you're going to break down every time, it ends up not being that big of a deal because it just becomes part of your system. That's how we do it.
Yeah, and because that's what you think your system sets up to be something that's easier to break down too. Yeah. So like, we hang a set 95% of the time, probably.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, there are just a few places. We have some private stuff in Kansas that we get to, like, sometimes, like, what I end up doing a lot is in the evening, it's getting darker, especially when I can see good. Like, if I have to be locked in, then I'm not looking at my phone. But I'll start looking at weather and going, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow morning? Because if I can leave my stand here, that would be awesome.
Yes.
And if I
we do that a lot too.
Yeah. So like I try to, I'm not trying to make myself keep the stand there, but if it's a good spot and the weather sets up again good for it, then that's what I'll do. But a
lot of times if we have like a better weather day coming tomorrow or something, we're gonna make that move the day before, and that evening hunt is gonna be for the following day, because for someone to go in the morning and hunt deer and get set up quietly and get on deer, that's super challenging me. I mean, both of our encounters with our giants and the giant I killed was mornings, going in and setting up. But there's just so many things. You're setting up in the dark. You got your flashlight on and off. You ting a stick. when you go in there and set up at noon, you can see, you can even picking a tree in the dark's hard. Like, okay, this is kind of the tree I want to be in, but that tree over there looks kind of good. Like, there's a lot to it. And then you get set up and your shooting lanes are probably not what you thought they were on the ground in the morning. That's one of the hardest things about, hanging hunting in a different spot is you get up there, you're like, man, I got to hang 12 foot high because I can't shoot anything, higher than that,
We kind of have somewhat of a rule nowadays that we do our best to not hang and hunt in the morning in a place we've never been. Because it's exactly what you're talking about. Whether we've scouted it, because that's one of the things we do when we scout. We walk around and we pick the tree that we think will be the best thing to hang in for that specific wind. That way we know which tree to go in and do that on, So I know exactly what you're talking about. And the only way, there's no foolproof way, but like if you force yourself to do the in the dark thing quite a bit, sooner or later you get a little bit better at it. I can think back, like 2018, we were trying to do some more setups and stuff, and dude, it just sounds like a mechanic shop. It's like some beat banging. And sooner or later, you get a little bit better at it, but still, it's just, it's loud, just like what you're saying, And the other thing about, having a midday setup is, at least a lot of places we hunt, you got wind cover too.
Yeah.
So it's
time. You got time too, man. Like, I've killed, out of the last 6 deer I've killed 5 of them on evening hanging hunt setups. So it's just, you can go in at 1 p.m., take your time, walk way in and set up slow. You can see when your strap's about to hit your stick, and, keep it from doing that. And you can see the tree and the lanes and everything. So I like them better. Plus, and we think about this differently, but I also have this theory or thought, I guess, that like, as an evening goes on, it gets better and better. And so like I get real impatient in the mornings where I think that like 7:15, I'm like, okay, it's over. I'm going home. I got to go edit something,
I wish I had that. I wish I was how you are, but I have, I don't know, anxiety or something in the evenings where it's like, oh my gosh, there's only 10 minutes left. There's only 10 minutes left for him to come out. It's not going to happen, Whereas in the morning, I'm like, oh, he's got all day to come out here, So I guess that's kind of how we're opposite in that. And I guess, this is a good, a good reason to go and do an early season hunt like we did, because we got a lot of the kinks ironed out in our systems in September. You don't want to be doing that stuff, whenever there is a 190 in the wood block, you kind of would like to go and do that stuff when you're trying to shoot a glorified antelope, or whatever, So it's like, it's nice to go and just get all that stuff ironed out, in the dark or in daylight or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to make a plan, especially. We do a lot of 2 guys, 1 tree and filming, and it's just so much shit. And if you're in a small tree, there's just way too much going on and everybody, you're naturally groggier in the morning. At least I am. But like you said, in the daylight, you can see, you can scout on the way in. It's just way more convenient. So we do a lot of, well, let's make a move. This spot was not as good as we thought it was going to be. The weather's better for tomorrow, so let's set up for tomorrow morning. And you're trying to pick a spot where it might be decent in the evening, but it's going to be good in the morning. But just while you're on here, go ahead and let our listeners know where they can find all your guys' video content and your podcast. Like I said, I've followed your guys' podcast for a couple years, and I love your guys' video content.
Thanks,
like I said, another shout out to you guys for doing it like semi-live like that. We did that last year with podcast, and it almost killed us. So I couldn't imagine you guys doing it all the time. So, but let them know what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, man, thanks for letting us get on here. Yeah. I always think about y'all a lot because you were like one of the first guys that ever flagged me down and said, hey, you're one of those Element guys. We're at ATA in 2018, 19, whatever it was.
19.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, people watch our videos? We talked about, that public land film we did. But anyways, so the Element Wild, at the Element Wild is where you can find us on social stuff. The Element was already taken, of course, some skaters have to mess things up. But, the Element Wild's where you can, check us out on Facebook and Insta and stuff.
Yeah, and then element on YouTube. Yeah, if you see a big deer in the photo, that's the right one. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys are excited about this year. What you got going on, man? We hadn't got to talk much lately.
If we got information about a property that we've wanted to do something on for since I've been hunting it, and I don't want to put any eggs in the basket, but it should be the best year of hunting we've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying right now.
Let's go.
I'm good. I'm jacked for early season because we set one property up. We've been hunting it 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And we put the pieces together on it. We know what we need to do early. Last year we were this close, and now we're, the deer. We're running all mobile cams on it. They're hitting the food plots. We're not going in there. I'm getting 200 plus blanks from one bush that grew up, and I will not go in and cut that bush down because I do not want to bump these deer. I'm just like, all right, I'm dealing with 200 blanks a day. I got 15 more days to season.
Yeah.
The batteries are gonna hold. I'm rolling the dice on this. Like, I'm not going in there, but yeah, that's what I'm excited. Just new gear, better gear, and more property, new lease.
What's homie gonna shoot?
I don't know. He's gonna
shoot a really solid 8-pointer the third day of season. I'm hoping that's what I'm.
Yep. I got that one with my name on it. But what I'm excited for this year is, just like Cody was saying, we got some new information here, but probably below that is actually just like the property Cody was talking about. Historically, it's been really good in October, and we've got a couple other pockets of timber on a couple different pieces of public land that we ran cams and we let them soak all year. We did the all-year experiment, per se, with them, and we got a couple spots that we feel like late October, on a cold front, we can slip into and have really good luck there. So excited to use last year's intel to set up this year's success, and I think this year we're going to be more prepared for those scenarios because we did the work and the study and all that last year.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah, we got more daylight bucks on cam last year than we ever have in our whole entire hunting career.
Good.
So
it's good, man.
Just not being able to hunt them, and you get that intel too late. Now we got mobile cams everywhere.
Yeah.
We're not holding back.
Yeah, it's so nice, dude.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, and I try not to do it very often, but like when dudes are sending me pictures of nighttime bucks and they're like, man, what do you think I should do? I'm like, find another property probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we just released a podcast about that. Like, if you want to hunt a buck that's nocturnal, you really got to decide, is this buck worth not killing a deer, not killing a buck? Like,
sure,
because you're hunting something that's really, really hard to kill.
Yeah, if it's between this time and this time, probably not going to happen, bud.
Yeah.
Dude, I have came very close to using that setting of like not taking nighttime pictures on trail cameras. Like, I thought about it because they're really just an illusion. They're not real, but it's still valuable information for knowing like what animals exist in the area. So you have that year-to-year data. But, outside of that, like I think in the hunting season, if you only you just took those off the SD card right away and stuck them on a hard drive somewhere else, then you probably would be better off. But it's
you look at what you got, and you can actually hunt. Like, I feel like we've seen it multiple times where guys hunt a giant. Same giant we're hunting, and he's 1.5 miles away hunting this deer. Yeah. I'm going to be putting him in my truck this year. Words have come out, he said, and you're just like, dude, there is not a chance in hell that you even see that deer. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going to tell you, but there's literally no chance, unless he's on a hot doe doing some random bullshit, you are not seeing this deer. A deer is a figment of your imagination, pretty much.
Well, anything can happen from the 5th to the 15th. You can kind of just say whatever. But for the most part, it's exactly right. I got a question. Why, in the world of whitetail partners, is there one scraggly, ugly guy and then one clean cut, like just, smooth.
It's
beard.
all
Why
in
is
my.
that- Why is that how it goes, man?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the time, my beard's like 6 inches longer, and I've been cutting my hair.
Yeah, Cody's
short. I'm getting
actually clean
older.
cut. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting older.
That's
man.
clean
I
cut
know
for
have real
Cody.
long hair, and shit's just wearing on me. I'm like, I gotta get this shit off. Me. I gotta be more aerodynamic the older I get.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
My beard, the older I get, the curlier the hair gets. So it just goes poof out to the side. It's almost just.
I got pretty much
almost
a
like I'm
line
making
of
a
gray going right here. I'm like, well, it's time. Just let her all
English,
go,
bro.
gray.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Just the accent. Just keep it going, man.
Yeah.
Make that little accent.
Yeah.
It's like the offset beanie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Just it's a statement.
you know what I'm looking forward to is some more of those TikTok videos that you and homie do.
Yeah.
Amazing homie.
That's all
The
homie
only
busted out
thing-
the
One
class.
thing we're good at.
It's comedy. That's it. Yeah. We're decent at coming up with dumbass ideas. That's about it.
Good.
Other
Hey,
than
sometimes that gets you a long ways.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all watch Dude Perfect much, but man,
Yeah.
what they do is dumb and it is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that we're decent at. We're really good at coming up with ideas and making them happen. It's like it's
Cool.
just keep grinding, keep putting the time in, and we'll move the sticks like I like to do. It's moving.
Talking about,
3
dude.
yards in a cloud of
That's
dust,
it,
man.
dude. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's why there's 4 down, so 3 yards gets you somewhere. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you coming on with us and spending some time with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks
Absolutely,
for having us.
dudes.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode from the Element guys, Casey and Tyler. If you guys aren't following them at the Element Wild, these guys are killing deer all over the place, man. If you live in Nebraska, you live down south, Midwest, they have great content that you can absorb from everywhere. I love their YouTube. Their podcast is also really good. They give a lot of updates during season, what they got going on. They talk to some really cool people, in before season and the off season there. But give them guys some love. For us, if you guys did enjoy this episode, you could leave us a review. That'd be awesome on iTunes. If you are listening on iTunes, leave us a review of what you think it's worth, and type something down there below. But my favorite review to this day is 1 star. These guys know nothing about legit whitetail hunting. The best review we've ever received. But like always, we love you guys. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. Always try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.